letting it slide. You're just kind of going through the motions. Hi, happy Thursday. Today's topic that Brendan Burchard sat in his GrowthDay app in his daily fire was quiet quitting. And when I first read that title, I was like, "Ugh, I have nothing to say about that because gosh, it's been a long time since I worked for somebody. I feel a bit spoiled. I've been my own boss, which comes with its own challenges, especially the highly sensitive, but I've really been enjoying it, and I do feel fortunate in that. And yes, there have been times where I wanted to quit, but it's a little different. But once I kind of got into this topic, I was like, wait, there's definitely some things that we can say about this because even if it's not like within your job, within your career, is there an area in your life where you have just kind of come to this point of like, I don't know how to approach that. I don't know what to do with this. I don't have the energy to deal with this. I don't think it's ever going to change. I'm just going to do the bare minimum and I'm going to be grumpy about it and just going to have that how it is, right? And I feel like that's kind of the tone that comes with quiet quitting, right? I mean, to be honest, I try to stay out of the mainstream. What's happening? I know I should be more engaged in the world. Sometimes it's just a bit too harsh. I know the principles, the basics of what's going on currently with the idea of quiet quitting, of people just being so fed up. And gosh, rightfully so at times, right? I feel like the world is so fast paced these days, it's really hard to keep up. However, and this is also something that Brendan Burchard mentions. I'll read his quote first, and then I'll give you my take on it. It's a beautiful quote. It is utterly destructive to the human psyche to knowingly and consciously choose each day to show up and not give the best of oneself, not try or push, not attempt to add more value or to innovate or to serve with excellence at our real capacity. Now take a deep breath because I know as highly sensitives, and this is why I titled the video how I did. As a highly sensitive, my first feeling that came up to about this was like anxiety of like, am I doing enough? Right? So many of us are perfectionists. So many of us always worry that we're not doing enough, that we are not enough because we grew up with this core wound of I'm so different. I'm so different. I must be flawed. There must be something wrong with me. I must not be enough. And so then a lot of times we overcompensate by doing way too much in order to somehow gain approval, to gain love, right? So a lot of us are probably not under this quiet quitting. And if you are, gosh, there's no judgment. There's absolutely no judgment from me. And I hope you can let go of judgment if you're judging yourself. My thing would be if you know somebody who's quietly quitting, or if you feel like you are quietly quitting on something or someone in your life, be curious. Be curious rather than judgmental. Be curious. There must be a really incredibly important reason why this person or why I am choosing to go through this, right? To put my psyche through this. There must be an important reason. I love to journal. I always grab my journal. Grab your journal and ask yourself that question. Why am I choosing to do this in that particular area of my life, right? And I would say it's probably either because you're just totally fed up, you don't know what to do in this area, or you're totally burned out, right? We just talked about that yesterday, burnout. You might be completely overwhelmed. And hey, I totally get it. As a single mom, oh my gosh, I feel like the first couple of years with my son, I was showing up. And sometimes that's about all that I could muster that day, right? I was still trying to give my best. And I feel like that's where the difference is between quietly quitting and feeling like you're not at 100% capacity, yes, because it might be whatever's going on in your life. But the question is still, what energy are you bringing to this, right? Are you showing up? Are you willingly saying, this is the best I got right now because of the current circumstance? It's temporary, right? That feeling is so different than quietly quitting, sitting back, saying, "Psh, they owe me. I'm not dealing with this. I'm just going to give them the scraps that they're giving me," right? That energy exchange, gosh, think about law of attraction. What you put out is what you get back. Value yourself more than that. And then know that you always have a choice. Now, I get it, especially in the current circumstances. You might not have the choice to quit your job or to stop doing whatever it is that's still like holding it together. I mean, gosh, maybe you're quietly quitting on your family right now because you're going through a really rough patch. I can only imagine, right? My kiddo's barely 7. I hear teenage years are even harder. I cannot imagine. I'm sure there are going to be days where you're just going through the motion, going, I'm just hoping and praying to get through this day. I totally get it. But then journal about it. Journal about your fears, journal about your worries, and then also, finish up with some gratitude about what do I love about this person? What do I love? What am I grateful for? Even as if this job or this family is not providing me with everything that I need right now to feel wholesome, to feel amazing, to feel fulfilled, what is it giving me, right? Is it giving me stability? Is it giving me some money to provide for my family? Is it giving me a safe environment? Is it giving me people that I can interact with who are generally upbeat and uplifting, right? What is it giving me, right? Be grateful for what it is giving you and then expand it into what do I want? What am I currently not getting that I really want? And then don't come from the like gritted teeth, or this is really what I want. That's really what I deserve. But go from it from a point of view of like, it's already done. The universe is hearing me and has heard me, and it already exists. I just need to change my vibration, my frequency in order to attract it, in order to call it into being, in order to call it into my visual field, in order to vibrate at the right frequency, in order to embrace it, to feel it, to call it in, to live it, right? So those are the two things I would do is like release the judgment, be curious. Be curious about what is actually going on for you. And then remember, you have a choice. Even if that choice in the moment isn't that you can quit and walk away and create something new, maybe that choice right now is just to take a deep breath, to re-engage, to know what's good about it and to know what you want to expand on. And also, I feel like this is another big point for highly sensitives in particular. Make sure that whatever job you have is resonating with you, right? Is it a good fit? Is it the right thing for you? Or are you constantly struggling, feeling like you're not keeping up with everybody else who's not highly sensitive and they can handle it and I can't and I'm too weak? Gosh, I remember going through years in my life thinking I could never have a 9 to 5 job because sitting in an office at a desk, I couldn't handle it. It would take too much energy. And now I have days frequently as a business owner where I work even more, even longer hours, but for myself under my own terms, right? So different. Oh my goodness. So just realizing and deciding, is this a good fit? And not even having to quit right now, but setting something in the future of I'm going to open this door. I'm going to be curious. I'm going to do some research. I'm going to put out my feelers. I'm going to put out my vibration of this is the thing that would fit better with me that I want to attract, right? And then, of course, taking care of yourself, doing the self care, but also deciding to show up, even if this job isn't the perfect fit for you right now. How can I show up for the others around me? How can I show up and give my best in order to show, even just to myself, that I am capable of a whole lot? And you never know who you'll meet, what kind of connections you will make, right? So incredibly important. I know there was something else. Yes, just this feeling, right? Brendan also mentioned like living up to your full potential. What does that mean? Journal about that. What does that mean to you? And in what areas do you feel like you have been and are living up to your potential? And what areas of your life do you feel like, oh, I'm not even scratching the surface? I've kind of checked out. Is it your health, your physical well being, your vitality, your fitness level? Have you checked out of that and just giving like mediocrity, thinking that you can't do better or just don't want to put the effort into it to do better? And then decide that you are worth it and it is worth it to feel good, Man, this earbud is totally missing. I'm hoping that you can hear me. Here, let me put my other one in too. Ah, I have one that kind of keeps going in and out. Hopefully, you can hear me. And then, yeah, how are you choosing to show up for others, right? Remember, we do this as highly sensitive. I totally do it, especially when we're overstimulated, right? This was something that was so fascinating for me to find out about being highly sensitive because we are highly so empathetic how everybody else is feeling. So we're so empathetic. However, we get to a point of complete overstimulation and we flip into the opposite. Now all of a sudden we become less empathetic than the average person, than the any non-highly sensitive person, right? Flip into this like totally non-empathetic, and it's also just like, I don't know, from the outside, you might see it as like selfish. Oh, this is like so selfish, right? Oh my somebody in my family has called me the most selfish being that they've ever encountered when I did a lot of work around because, as highly sensitive, we're so sensitive to criticism, particularly about that. Particularly because we feel like we do so much for others, we give so much all the time. But yes, if this person is seeing me at times or in a light where I'm kind of went over the edge, I went into overstimulation, I'm done giving, right? To get to those moments. So many times in my journals, I'm done. I'm not doing anything for anyone anymore. I am so done, right? When we get to that point of overstimulation, of just having enough, we completely flip back into, yes, selfishness, because we need to be selfish in that moment because we haven't been taking care of ourselves. We haven't been giving enough self-love, and therefore then we flip into this hyper selfishness, which is totally fine in that moment because we need to bring it back around to find that center point again. And hopefully, from there in the future, we can be more balanced. We can give and we can receive, right? How many of you have a tough time receiving? We've got to allow that stream too of receiving. You can't just always give, right? You can't give from an empty cup. We've got to fill back up. So, how are you choosing to show up for other people? How are you choosing to show up for yourself? How do you feel about your current performance, about your current, the way you're living your life, the way you're showing up in your job, the way you're showing up for your kid, the way you're showing up for your partner, the way you're showing up for your health, the way you're showing up for your friends? How are you feeling about the way that you are showing up in your life right now? Yeah, did it. Oh, and I guess as the last thing, this is one of my favorites from Abraham Hicks' teachings, right? If you are in the moment, and I don't want you to come down so harshly on yourself or judge yourself, right? And then just be okay. I am where I am, and that's okay, right? Any navigation system needs to have a starting point. You have your starting point. You know where you are. You're now aware, and now you get to decide what to do from here, where you go from here. Okay? I'm wishing you a beautiful Thursday. Oh my gosh, almost end of the week. Definitely think about your bliss list today. Put in little moments of refreshing, rejuvenating today. Laugh, smile, enjoy the sunshine. Look out for that one moment, those 2 moments, those 3 moments today that are going to be incredibly significant and fulfilling and just feeling so good. You have an incredible day, and I will see you tomorrow.